Three little girls climbed into their father's truck, still in their summer dresses. Their mother kissed them goodbye, not knowing it would be the last time. Payton was 9. Oldest, protective. Evelyn, 8, bright, curious. Olivia, just 5, the baby, always holding her sister's hands. They were supposed to be back by nightfall, but night came, and the driveway stayed empty. What happened next shook a community and exposed how a mother's instincts were ignored until it was too late. Travis Caleb Decker was born in 1992, small town Colorado, where pickup trucks outnumbered traffic lights and family dinners meant everything. He was the kind of boy who stood for the national anthem with his hand over his heart, the kind who wore his father's dog tags around his neck long before he had his own. His father had been a Green Beret, and Travis? He followed suit. By 2013, he was Army strong, sharp, disciplined, fearless. He earned his expert infantry badge. Parachutist wings, the kind of medals that say, this man knows danger. But the battlefield has a way of leaving stains that don't wash off. Afghanistan changed him. When he came home, he wasn't the same. The laugh lines faded. He flinched at slamming doors. He stared too long at nothing at all. PTSD. Borderline personality disorder. Rage he couldn't name. The military gave him a uniform, but it also left him shadows. Shadows that followed him home, and started following his children too. And in that silence, something began to crack. When Travis returned home, Whitney was his anchor. She saw the man beneath the uniform, not the soldier, but the soft-spoken boy who once dreamed of raising a family, not fighting a war. They married young, built a life fast, and soon they had 3 daughters, Payton, Evelyn, and Olivia. For a while, it looked picture perfect. Birthday balloons, family hikes, matching flannel Christmas pajamas. The kind of family album that earns heart emojis on Facebook. But real life wasn't filtered. Travis had trouble holding jobs, trouble sleeping, trouble letting go of control. He'd snap at minor things, spill juice, lost toys. His moods changed like weather. There were long silences, and then storms. Whitney, always calm, always trying, carried it all for the girls. Until one day, she realized they were starting to flinch too. In 2022, she filed for divorce. No big fights. No arrests. Just quiet heartbreak. And a quiet warning to herself. Protect the children. But paper boundaries couldn't stop what came next. After the divorce, Travis unraveled slowly. Then all at once, he stopped showing up to therapy, stopped returning calls from his unit. Sometimes, he'd sleep in his truck. Other nights, he'd park outside Whitney's house for hours, engine running, just watching the lights through the windows. He said he missed his daughters. But his visits began to feel more like intrusions and reunions. He was volatile, sometimes warm, sometimes ice cold. He brought them odd gifts, knives, survival gear, even a compass. Once, he told Payton to never trust anyone but Dad. Then came the signs Whitney couldn't ignore. One daughter was found with a bathrobe knotted tightly around her neck. A game, he claimed. Another came home with unexplained bruises. Whitney filed motion after motion, pleading for supervised visits only. Finally, the court listened. No more overnights. Only monitored contact. Limited locations. But Travis didn't see this as a boundary. He saw it as a battle line. And what he did next stunned an entire nation. May 30th, 2025. It was a Friday. Travis was granted a short, supervised visit with his daughters. But that day, somehow, he convinced the supervisor it wasn't necessary. He seemed calm, clean cut, like a dad trying to do the right thing. He picked up the girls in his white GMC Sierra. Payton, Evelyn, Olivia, all in summer dresses, backpack swinging. He promised Whitney, I'll have them back by 8. That was the last thing she ever heard from him. 8 p.m. came. No truck. 9 p.m. Still nothing. Whitney called. Straight to voicemail. She texted. No reply. By 10:30 p.m., she called the police. She filed a missing persons report. She begged them to issue an Amber Alert. But they said no. There was no immediate proof of harm. No history of violence. No justification for an alert. She pleaded, "He's unstable. Please, just find my girls." But protocols speak louder than panic. And while red tape held them back, danger was already unfolding in the woods. June 2nd, 2025. 2 days after the girls vanished, search teams traced Travis's cell data to a remote patch of forest, Rock Island Campground, tucked deep within Washington's Cascade Wilderness. There, under the shadow of pine trees, they found it, his white GMC Sierra. Parked, quiet, still. The engine was cold. The back tailgate stained, not rust, not mud, blood. Inside, children's car seats, a sleeping bag, half-eaten snacks. No sign of Travis. The search widened. Dogs picked up a scent that led into the trees. And then, in a clearing beyond a shallow ridge, they found them. Payton, Evelyn, Olivia. All 3 girls were lying side by side. Each had zip ties on their wrists and plastic bags over their heads, tightened with elastic bands. Their shoes had been removed. Their eyes were closed. It wasn't chaos. It was staged. A father didn't just kill. He tucked them in. But Travis was nowhere to be found. And what came next triggered a manhunt. By the time the girls' bodies were discovered, Travis Decker was already gone. Gone, but not without a plan. Investigators found camping gear near the scene. Food supplies, water filters, trail maps. A journal with hand-drawn terrain sketches. Travis hadn't just fled, he had prepared. And this wasn't just a casual hike. It was an escape route. His truck had been spotted days earlier heading toward the Pacific Crest Trail, a vast wilderness stretch that spans from Washington to Canada. A survivalist dream and a fugitive's perfect hideout. Police deployed dogs, drones, helicopters. Hundreds of square miles were searched. Then, a lead. A hiker reported seeing a man with a military-style backpack dart into the trees near Icicle Creek. Dirty, thin, bearded. When authorities arrived, they found broken branches, a makeshift fire pit, but no Travis. It was as if the forest swallowed him whole. And as days turned into weeks, a haunting question echoed louder: is he dead or hiding in plain sight? The town of Wenatchee stood still. Candles lined the sidewalk. Stuffed animals leaned against fence posts. Handwritten notes trembled in the breeze. Fly high, sweet girls. A vigil was held in Memorial Park. 3 white balloons rose into the dusk sky. Mothers held their daughters a little tighter. Fathers stared at their hands, wondering how something like this could happen. And Whitney, she didn't speak at first. But days later, with a trembling voice and photographs clenched in her hands, she faced the cameras.
I just have a short something to share. Good evening, and thank you all for being here.
The red flags were there. Travis's instability, his erratic behavior, the court motions, the documented concerns. She had begged them to be careful, but no Amber Alert was issued, no emergency intervention, because on paper, he was just a father picking up his daughters. The system didn't break. It hesitated. And the biggest question still remains. Travis still missing. Where's Travis Decker? It's been months, and still no sign. Some believe Travis Decker died by suicide in the woods, that the wilderness claimed him as quietly as he slipped into it. Others, including investigators, think he's still out there, alive, armed, hiding, living off-grid with the same tactical training that once earned him military honors, now used to stay one step ahead of justice. But the truth? We don't know. What we do know is that 3 little girls trusted him. They climbed into his truck with backpacks, juice boxes, and ponytails. They never came home. And somewhere out there, their killer, their own father, may be watching this story unfold. So we say their names. Payton, Evelyn, Olivia, not for how they died, but for the joy they brought and the justice they deserve. If this story moved you, if you believe these girls deserve to be remembered, hit that share button. At Unmasking Evils, we share real stories that demand to be told, stories that haunt, stories that matter, and stories that remind us silence is never safety. Subscribe now and join us again for the next true crime that needs your voice.